Hi, it's Chris Watkin here with Stephen Brown, UK's #1 estate agency trainer. And Stephen, I want to find out a bit about you as a person, the man behind the brand. Tell me about your journey as an estate agent. So when did you start? When did you want to become an estate agent?
Okay, well, firstly, thank you for your kind comments. I'm very humbled and flattered by
Well,
what you say.
we've known each other now for 4 or 5 years, and you're a good friend, and yeah, you're just top bloke. So come on.
Okay, thank you. But there's also some excellent other trainers out there as well.
Yes, there is.
So thank you. That's really kind of you. When I was at school, I always had an interest in property and, funnily enough, antiques. So, and still today, actually, my favourite programmes are Antiques Road Trip and Flog It, because I love auctions.
Yes.
So when I was at school, I think my A-level estimation grades weren't great for uni. I wanted to go to uni and they weren't great. And I ended up following my beloved Spurs a lot more than studying. And so decided that I was going to go out to work, and I went for a few interviews. I went to Christie's, I went to Sotheby's, and then I ended up deciding to go into property. And I had a couple of interviews for commercial, and they were, shows you how many years ago, I got offered either £2,500 or £3,500 to start. So
a year?
A year, yeah. So you're trying to work out how many years ago it was. So it's about 30 odd years ago, 33.
How did you feel about not hitting your grades?
I still passed my A-levels, okay? I didn't get the grades that I needed. I could have gone to university, and actually, when I ended up going into this first job, I decided that I wanted to study to become a chartered surveyor.
Okay.
So I actually did day release.
Okay.
In fact, I didn't. I joined the College of Estate Management.
Yep.
And did it via correspondence course. It actually took me 6 years to qualify. So I'd work during the day, and then I was studying in the evening. Well, again, I actually found the first 2 years, I failed the first 2 attempts, mainly because it was all theory. And honestly, I didn't understand the theory, and I really didn't look at the assignments that I was getting from the College of Estate Management. When I actually looked at them, I realised they were the exam questions. So I worked, and then I actually I passed my part 1. Part 2, part 3 and practical, because I was doing it every day.
Yes.
Flew through, and it was easy at the end.
So 6 years later,
So
you're working in commercial chartered surveying, and you got your qualifications.
So, well, yes and no. So
Okay.
I started at this company for a couple of years, making tea, doing a lot of photocopying, and then I ended up doing more business than the senior investment guy there.
Right.
And I saw an advert in the Estates Gazette for a £50,000 a year. So gone from 3,500 to 50,000. So I went for this job interview, and the guy said, "Look, Stephen, I can't give you the £50,000, but I like the way that you've come."
Yes.
And he created a job for me, which was great.
And where was that? What firm was that?
That's for Druce in Manchester Square, doing investments.
Okay.
It was incredibly challenging at that time. So my dad was also very ill. So he had a kidney transplant in 1974, and he was in and out of hospital for the first 23 years of my life. So Hammersmith Hospital was my second home.
Okay.
And we would go there, and a couple of years before he died, we went there, and all the staff, so we got to know the doctors and
Yes.
the nurses incredibly well, and they were all in tears. "What's the matter?" So I said, "I'm really sorry, go and say your goodbyes." The next day my dad started off a new business, so he was an inspiration to me. He was, he suffered a hell of a lot, but he built up businesses. He did incredibly well. He had, live every day as its last. incredibly positive attitude. So he was incredibly inspirational for me. So
how did that inspiration show itself in the way you worked? What were your hopes and your expectations at this point?
I don't know whether I don't think at that stage I set myself goals or I set myself targets. It's very different now. Now I really want to continuously improve. I'm going to ARIC in May, to listen to 40 world-class speakers. I do a lot of self-development. I read a lot, and I hated reading at school.
Okay, let's bring it back to the point where you've just gone to the investment surveyors. You've got the challenges of your dad, but he gives you inspiration.
Yeah.
Where were you? Where did you see your career going?
Well, look, I hope to be there longer. The day before 2 years, I got made redundant.
Swines.
So, and my dad's dealt.
Your dad's still with you at this point?
He was, and he dealt with liquidators. So he would dispose of a company assets, and he would get a lot of property assets. So he would say to me, Stephen, who should I go to sell this or
yes.
like this? So do this, do this, do this. So when they made me redundant, he said, well, look, why don't you just do it for yourself? So I set up a company, an office above a baker's in East Finchley,
okay,
and did it for about a year. Unfortunately, he then passed away, but he had partners. So then we set up a company with his partners, where there was me on property, there was a guy who dealt with all the assets, and there was an administrator.
So what year was this then, roughly? Even decade?
I was in the late 80s, I would have thought.
Okay. You don't look so bad on your age, mate, if you don't mind me saying.
That's very kind. I celebrated a big birthday.
Bless you.
Very
You're
recently.
40th.
I wish.
So you set this firm up.
Yeah.
Did everything go swimmingly well?
Nope. So there were 6 partners.
Yes.
And there were 3 partners who were going to go out and bring in the business.
Yes.
Didn't materialise. I got a fantastic salary, but the money started to stop.
Okay. So what did you do then?
Well, at the time I was doing my APC, so I was.
Yes.
I was almost.
That's the final qualifications for being a chartered surveyor.
Correct.
Yes.
Right. So I left, and I tried to find a job, and I was either overqualified to get into a estate agency, or underqualified because I hadn't
Got the magic
qualified
bit,
yet.
yep.
So I got introduced by one of my clients to Green and Company.
Okay, because that's Green and Company's who you're best known for. So what do you do? Go in at managing director, or?
No, I went in as a negotiator,
Okay.
and in fact I had an interview, and David didn't want to take me, okay, because he thought I would leave I was going to qualify in November.
Yes.
This was the start of August, and he said, you know what, yes, I can see you working here, but so he didn't take me. 3 weeks later, I still hadn't found any job. He hadn't found anybody. So we
Went in as an egg.
We went in as a neg.
How did you feel about that? Because it's almost you were going one step down or a couple of steps down.
At that time, life was incredibly challenging. So my dad had passed away. I was at an incredible low. My confidence was rock bottom. I didn't sell a property for the first 9 months.
Wow.
I used to answer the phone, Green and Company, and even the MD's wife would say, "Who the hell is this guy that you've employed?"
Okay.
Fortunately, after 9 months, it clicked. 14 months later, I was branch manager. A couple of years later.
So what exactly happened? What was the click that turned you from mild, meek-mannered Stephen Brown to super Stephen Brown, branch manager? What was that thing?
Maybe it was just my dad. Maybe it was just the inspiration. Maybe it was just for look, I always feel my dad's watching me. Okay, and my dad's looking after me, and my dad's helping me and pointing me in the right direction. and maybe it was just the confidence of that first sale,
Yes.
getting that self-belief and believing that I could do it.
My old boss used to say, if you've had a bad run on listings, put one through at 0.5%, like a sitter on a goal. Get it in, show that you can actually perform, and off you're back on the horse and off you go.
Yeah.
So you were branch manager within like 5 months of finding your mojo. What happened then? How long were you at Green & Co for?
I was at Green & Co for 20 years.
Okay, so briefly go through your transition through Green & Co, what you did and what you learnt.
Green & Company was incredibly... They just were looking for ways of being different. So, they... the culture there was very different. Did a lot with the staff. We had colleague of the month, mistake of the month, so everybody could learn from it. We had staff suggestions. We ended up opening, or we had a couple of branches called Home, where Julian Richard from Richard Sounds got involved. And we were always looking at different concepts, so we called them a shop rather than a branch. And we make it very welcoming. We had an anti-gazumping tool, so a goodwill charter. We had, we would take all the team away, and we would have skeleton staff for 3 days, during time, where we were always looking at ways of improving the business and growing the business and getting better. We had a documentary over 6 nights or 6 days series for which was fascinating, because you learned an awful lot about your business. But the business grew as a result of the publicity.
Yes.
It was absolutely fantastic.
So after 20 years, what position did you end up at?
I ended up looking after the operations.
How many branches?
So at that time, most probably had 5 or 6.
Okay. You enjoying it?
Did I enjoy it? Yeah, I enjoyed it. Enjoyed it.
And you felt at the time that you were doing your late father proud with how you got to?
Yeah, look, I was always in the top 1 or 2, fighting it out every year to be negotiator. I was the first office to do £1 million in a year, which is a huge achievement. We had the most phenomenal month ever, which was absolutely incredible. Huge month, which was record breaking.
Yes.
And actually, a lot of the time, what was nice was I used to get managers phone me up to say, 3 years ago you went in and you went on a market appraisal with this particular vendor, and you gave them this particular advice. Every other agent would tell them to sell. You told them to rent. And they just said, "Are you still there?" Because they're so grateful. Because
Remembered you.
Yeah, and that was nice. And then the managers could understand. We talked about short term and long term, and how this is long term. To me, I was always in it for the long game. So it was always showing that actually they may come back to me in a year, 2 years, 3 years if I gave them value, and I believe I gave them value.
So you were at the top of your game. You were ops director at Green & Co. Then what happened?
Then, unfortunately, my wife had cancer.
Okay.
So she had 31 what she calls spa days. So she had 4 operations, and then 15 chemo and 16 radios.
Because that really must have floored the family.
Yeah, it was incredibly challenging. My boss was fantastic, so I had 9 months working part-time. But you reevaluate everything. So I spent a lot of time with 3 boys. We went, I went to all their sports. I spent a lot of time with my wife. And then I went back to work for 9 months, and then she needed more major surgery. And you just think, you know what? Somebody's telling you something. So,
do you think you were working too hard? You personally?
I worked long hours,
Okay.
Even though it wasn't my business. I felt it was my business.
Yep.
I cared passionately about it.
I think there's a lot of people out there that think that
I wanted it to succeed, and it did. It was a great company, it was a great business. But I suppose ultimately my family was more important. Long and short of it. So I left. I started with nothing.
Okay, so you left a well-paid job. You've been through the shit because your wife had cancer and multiple operations. It enabled you to reevaluate your life. What was it? What were those priority changes? What, the family comes first?
Yeah, family comes first. So,
Okay.
working for myself gives me the flexibility of doing all the things that I want to do with my family.
And was it just like this light bulb moment and you just did it, or did it take you a few weeks or months to make this choice?
No, just that was it.
Okay.
Did it.
And how did that make you feel?
It's most probably a relief.
Okay. Because there's a lot of people out there that are in jobs, branch managers, area managers, divisional directors, and they just think, is this it? Do you think your wife's cancer was a blessing in disguise?
Yeah, it most probably
Horrid.
was.
Yeah, you don't mind me saying that,
No,
right?
no. It most probably was. It's tough. It's hard. It's incredibly hard when you've got 3 young boys as well. But it's a decision we made. I'm not sure my wife was best pleased because she saw a lot more of me than.
Well, working on the kitchen table. So what was the plan then?
Okay, so the plan was, I always loved coaching and I always loved mentoring. I did a lot of the training at Green & Company, and I thought, let's go and see whether there's a market out there for somebody who can use the experience of actually being an estate agent,
Yes.
knowing it day in, day out. I'm very system and process orientated. In fact, I'm quite anal when it comes to systems and processes.
Yes, you are.
Thank you.
That's a compliment, by the way.
So it was. I didn't know what to expect.
So when did you start your consultancy training business?
So most probably been going now about just over 5
So that's
years.
2003, 2004.
God, your maths is good. Try 2013.
Yeah. Okay. It's the camera. It screws your head up. Okay. It's the radio. It's the lights. Okay. Okay. So you set up your own business. This is a great story for people who are thinking about setting up their own estate agency. You've got no clients. You've got your little black book. What did you do?
So I started speaking to people. I started connecting with people in LinkedIn. I got a few odd jobs, mainly because of who I worked for.
Yes.
And they wanted to pick my brain and hear all my secrets. And I would say it most probably just taken me 3 years to get myself established. And now I work on and off with 150 agents.
And how's that journey been from, starting off with an empty diary and no money coming in? Has it been plain sailing or has it been tough?
It's been tough, when you've got a family to look after. But actually, to me, I get myself into trouble here. It's not about the money. It's about looking after my family. And actually, I love my job.
Is it a job?
No, it's a passion. I enjoy working with people. I enjoy finding ways of adding value to their business.
What's the best bit about your job?
Best bit of the job is there's so many amazing Facebook groups. There's so many amazing trainers out there. So a couple of Saturdays ago, somebody posted on on one of the groups looking for a sales trainer, and a couple of people wrote a company, then somebody wrote Stephen Brown, then somebody wrote a couple of other people, and then the next 16 wrote Stephen Brown.
I think I was one of them, wasn't I, mate?
You were.
Yay!
You were. Very kind of you.
No, I meant it, mate. At the end of the day, if you don't mind me saying, Stephen, the first time I met you, because you really are an iron fist covered in a fur glove, that I thought to myself, well, you haven't got much about you. I'm not sure about you. And I've said this before, so I'm not speaking out of turn. But I've been on one of your courses, mate, and you're effing amazing.
Thank you.
You really are. Especially that, I mean, the one I particularly love is that Turn Your Data into Gold course. You should be charging 3 times as much for that. But let's come back.
Okay, so what do I enjoy? I enjoy people taking action and implementing it. So that's where I get my satisfaction.
And how does that make you feel?
Well, I feel great for them.
Yeah.
Because I know that, you know, they're taken on board all my suggestions and observations and ideas.
Yes.
They're doing it and they're getting the results.
And what do you get out of it?
I'm just proud that they're doing it.
You make a difference, and that's what it's about, mate.
Look, it is about making a difference, you know, and I enjoy the coaching. I enjoy the mentoring. I enjoy giving the tough love. Okay?
You have to.
Because I want everybody, and I'm very blunt when I do it, okay? But I want everybody to improve. I want everybody to get better. They can only do it, so you can take them so far, but then it's up to them to go and action and implement it. And the best agents that I work with are the ones that action it and implement it. You know? And there are some fantastic, incredible estate agents out there. And I wish the public know what these estate agents are doing, because they are amazing.
Excellent. Stephen, thank you for telling me your story. I hope everyone out there enjoyed it as much as I did, and hope you can learn something from it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.